IUP Hawk Talk, featuring the voice of the IUP Crimson Hawks, Jack Benedict, along with IUP head coach Paul Tortorella, each week from the Indiana Elks Lodge. This week's edition of Hawk Talk is brought to you by the Walker Motor Company and the Meredith Inn, and by the Indiana Elks Lodge 931. Now let's go live to the Indiana Elks Lodge, post 931. Here's Jack Benedict.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome aboard. Welcome to a special edition of Hawk Talk. We're coming to you live from the Indiana Elks Lodge here, South 13th Street in Indiana. Glad to have you along. Special for tonight, and that being that we've got Coach Tortorella with us for football, and the basketball coaches will be with us in the second half hour, because we're that time of year where it's, one moves right into another one. Coach, first of all, welcome aboard. It's always nice to talk, even more so when you come off a win. And first of all, congratulations on your 60th win.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, third all-time on the all-time list. And it was a precise time that you needed to get a victory, and it feels a whole lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah, we played well. That's the thing that's the best thing about it is we played all three phases, played really well, and it was a good win, good road win. Last road game for our seniors, so wanted to get that done, and we'll try to get their last home game, get a win for them in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 35-7. Gannon goes down. They score first. Did you make any adjustment? Because from then on, you went 35 points in a row.
Yeah, well, their first series, they did a lot of play-action passing, which they hadn't done a lot of in the past. And we were playing a coverage that was really to help us in the run, to stop their run game. And they took advantage of it on a couple plays. They made a pretty good throw and catch on the one where we had the guy covered pretty good. So we felt like, we weren't going to need that coverage to stop their run, because we thought like we were going to be okay. So we probably played the coverage 3 or 4 times in the first drive, and they hit 3 passes against it. And we may have played it maybe a handful of times the rest of the game. So they were matching up their play-action pass game and holding our linebackers and throwing the ball in behind them, and we were in zone. So we switched that up and took care of, most of their passing game, and we didn't need to do anything different to stop the run.
And the offense was 460 total yards. Karst Hunter had 3 touchdown passes, and Maurice Massey hauled in 3 of those. It's what you've been looking for, and it's like things started to come together.
Well, these teams, they sell out to stop the run. I mean, they had 9 million guys in the box, and if Massey's one-on-one with a corner, it's a major mismatch for us, and we took advantage of it 6 times.
Yeah, and he now has 8 touchdowns on the year, and those catches he made, those weren't easy.
No, he's really good at catching a deep ball. He's got long arms. He adjusts to a ball very well. He's got great ball skills. Uses his body well. Like one of the 3 touchdowns, he basically just body positioned the guy. The guy had him fairly covered, but he got between the defender and the ball, and he made the catch and fell into the end zone. The other 2, the other 2 touchdowns, he beat the guy pretty bad and was on top. And then earlier he caught a fade against press coverage against the same corner. I think he beat that corner 5 of the 6 times. If we were playing against Massey, personally, we would not be one-on-one trying to cover him one-on-one. Now, what that does is that loosens you up in the run game. Mm-hmm. So, you kind of got to pick your poison. And this Gannon defense was sold to stop the run, and they put their corners out there. We missed Massey on another deep ball where Karst overthrew him. And actually on the second series on 3rd down, he was wide open on another deep ball, and Karst didn't see him. They actually blew the coverage. So he very easily could have 5 touchdowns in that game.
Wow. One of the fans that listens to us all the time in the Pittsburgh area wanted me to ask you about Massey has another year, doesn't he? He'll come back, you believe?
Well, he has to be Division. He can't go Division I. His clock's done for Division I. That's why he came here. If he went Division I, he would only had 1 year. So he wanted to play 2 years. So, that's how we got him, knowing that he could play 2 years.
Yeah, he was at Missouri and then southeastern
Right.
Louisiana. Okay, well, that's good news for us,
Right.
that's for sure. You had a lot of big plays in the game, and Kalen Frazier gave you just a
Right.
lot of great yard. He had a 45-yard punt return. That happened. That was right before that led to a touchdown before the half, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the third touchdown.
Yeah. So going at halftime, you guys had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, we were, the first drive they scored on. The second drive they made a couple first downs, and then we stopped them. And then the next 8 drives were all punts. We stopped them 8 series in a row, and during that time, we had 6 series on offense, and we scored 5 touchdowns. So at the end of the first quarter till about 10 minutes to go in the game, we pretty much dominated the game. We scored 5 touchdowns out of 6 drives, and we made them punt 8 times. So 8 times in a row. And then we were fortunate to stop them at the end, not let them score there on their last drive. We got a sack from Fazell on 4th down. And so that's how it ended up the way it ended up.
Yeah, you got a total defensive effort. Everybody seemed to play. You had pressure on the quarterback all the time.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, their offense can cause you some issues. They're a little bit unorthodox. They're not as good. They lost 4 starters from last year, and their offensive line was probably the best offensive line we played against last year. And 4 of those guys were seniors. So they're really young in the offensive line. They started 2 freshmen, and they only had 1 starter back from last year. And it's a pretty unique run game that they use, and I'm sure when their O-linemen get a little bit older and more experienced, they'll and they lost their starting running back after the second game of the year. I guess he got injured and was out for the season, transfer from Bowling Green. But the quarterback run was the thing we were really honing in on, and much like Clarion's quarterback, he likes to run it. He likes to scramble. He has quarterback runs. He throws it. I think midway through the third quarter, he had a bad read on a run. He should have gave it, kept it, and he got hit pretty good by 3 guys there midway through the third quarter. And I think he was shook up a little bit. I think it probably affected him the rest of the game.
Cox led the way with number of tackles again. He had 11. He's getting up, he's close to 100 here when play the final game. Were you surprised that you had mentioned about they were geared up for your run, knowing that you really didn't have one outstanding back, that you were rotating backs, but you had them well scouted from the standpoint. Was that any surprise at all? Or?
I mean, teams are really, for some reason, selling out to stop our run game, and making us throw it. And with Massey, if you play him one-on-one, we're going to throw the ball down the field deep. We made a concerted effort. We talked about it at least throwing 5 or 6 balls, deep balls. And we hit 3. The one we missed, and there was one other one. We actually hit 4. He caught 3 touchdowns, caught a deep ball that wasn't a touchdown. We missed him on the one. So I think we took 5 shots and hit 4 of them.
Let's bring up Parker Gregg.
Right.
3 receptions and the yards after the catch.
Right.
He punished some defenders.
Well, that was a formation that we haven't really thrown the ball out of a lot. We've had some success running out of that formation, so we made an effort to play action pass a little bit more from it, and they kind of weren't ready for it. They had nobody on him twice in the flat. He was wide open. They had nobody on him because we haven't thrown very much out of that formation. So, they had everybody else covered, and they had nobody on him in the flat. Cars did a good job getting the ball out quick and getting them the ball in position for run after the catch. He had, obviously a lot of yards after the catch.
Are we going to get him a carry before the year ends?
You know what? We may. Now that you say that, we'll work on that in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, that'll be good. It was nice to see that Adam Hauser got a chance to start, and that Caleb Monaco also got himself a touchdown.
Right.
It was good that these guys who have been banged up off and on all year were able to play a part in a win here.
Well, it was a little different. We look a little different when we have all three of those running backs going. Like Monaco had 3 really good runs, the touchdown run, and then he had 2 runs that he bounced. You lose him kind of in there because he's not real big. And he bounced two runs outside on our sideline for 7-8 yard gains, where it was really probably a 2 or 3 yard gain. But he did a good job, and Adam did a good job, and then Younger again did a nice job. He had a nice touchdown run. We went for it on 4th and 1 on their 3, and we blocked it, and he walked in actually. Greg threw a great lead block. Comedy threw a great block at the point of attack. And JD just took it in, and they had them all up in there because we were, it was 4th and 1, and we blocked them all.
It's unfortunate that Hilton Ridley was not able to dress. Will he be able to?
Well, we're hoping. We're hoping he'll get to play his last home game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He won't do anything this week. He won't practice this week. So hopefully a full week off. We'll get him next week and get him a chance to play in his last home game.
One of your stalwarts up front, Gerald Comedy's been up there playing hard 4 years in a row. Got hurt near the end of the game. What's his status as of now?
He has an MCL. If we were playing this week, he wouldn't play. So we'll see after a week's rest and see how he is at this time next week. I know he'll want to play, being that it's his last home game. He's probably been, for 4 years, as consistent offensive lineman we've ever had here in the pro. I mean, we've had a lot of them, but he started as a true freshman because the COVID year, we didn't play. So he's been a 3.5, almost a full 4-year starter, and has been very durable, has not missed many games, very physical. Now he's playing tackle. He's been a guard.
Yeah.
When Koval got sick, he moved out to tackle, and Nelson moved in the guard, and Gerald's played great at tackle.
Well, this day and age, you don't say a whole lot about guys who come in and play for 4 straight years. Darius Bruce is another. I know he got shook up a little bit. At one time he came out, he went back in. What's his status?
He's fine.
Is he all right?
He had his shoulder, he got a stinger a little bit, but yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he'll be another 4-year guy. Not surprising that he went back in, and the fact that he'll probably be ready. After there was a fumble that you guys gave up, and Garrett Cox comes up with a big sack, and then 95-yard drive. We don't get many 95-yard drives going, and that is another momentum change for you.
Yeah, every time it looked like the momentum was going to shift, like when we fumbled, we didn't let it happen. We stopped them 3 and out on a sudden change. And then we got backed up and made a couple third down conversions. A big one at the beginning of the drive where they would have had really good field position, and that led to our 4th touchdown. So we talked about at halftime we were up 2 touchdowns. The next score would be huge. Obviously, if they got it, they'd cut it in half. If we got it, it would put us up 3 scores. So we were fortunate enough to be the ones to get it.
It was nice that you had an opportunity to incorporate the tight end Marcus Day came through for you.
Yeah, and he made a nice play on one of those third downs backed up. Matter of fact, he had a big catch on that drive, and then we got the ball past the 50, and then we hit Massey on the double move for the touchdown. And then on our last drive, we had another third down play that we converted. We were really good 3rd and 7 or less. We were 4 for 5 on third down. 3rd and 8 plus, which is tough, we were 0 for 3. So if we stayed out of those, which we did, we were in ahead of the sticks most of the day on both sides of the ball.
No penalties at the half. You only ended up, I think, with what, 2?
Well, we had the delay game at the end. So if you take that out of it, we just had 1 penalty, the hold. They actually called it on Younger, but it was probably on Okora on the hold. And then, but we made a first down after that also. It was 1st and 20. And that was part of that drive, actually. We converted.
I'll bring it up about Kalechi Okoro, who was in there for comedy video. And you said in viewing the video and the tape and everything else that he played well for.
Yeah, he is an offensive lineman. We moved him because we were a little thin in the defensive line. But once Koval got sick, we had to move Kalechi back over to offense, and he's been just waiting his turn. as the third offensive tackle. Him and Shaw are both the third tackles. So he started for 2 years, he was a starter at Concord in their offensive line, and he had a good year. He was all conference before he transferred. So, and he started the opener against Ashland 2 years ago as his first game here at offensive
that's right.
tackle.
All right, we're with Coach Paul Tortorella here as we talk football to the bottom of the hour. Basketball coaches will be along. Stay with us. Want to tell you that, of course, the team not playing this week, it's the idle week, and then Shippensburg comes in for the November 16th game. That's a 2 o'clock game. All right, we'll be back with more of our special presentation today of Hawk Talk from the Indiana Elks Lodge, coming your way on 92.5 FM and Renda Digital TV.
For food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose, the Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities. We give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
And welcome back, everybody, to Hawk Talk, our special edition here from the Indiana Elks Lodge. We want to thank everybody that's been participating here. And again, as Mark Burdick had announced to the audience, we won't have a show next week. It's Veterans Day, but in 2 weeks we'll have the final edition of Hawk Talk. Coach, I have a question here from a fan who watches IUP all the time, either video, audio, or in the present. Kutztown seems to be the favorite to win the conference, maybe the region. Is that how you see the playoffs here coming up?
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody's going to have to beat them. I mean, they've taken on all comers in the East, and I think they're number one defense in the region. So, yeah, I would think they're going to be a tough team to beat in the region. We obviously haven't played them, but we've played Slippery Rock. We've played Cal. We've played Ashland, who looks like they're going to get in because they're probably going to win their conference. So I think they'll probably get in as a earned access team. And, just looking at them on, we haven't played Kutztown, but we've seen them on video playing some of the teams that we've had to play. And they, they're really good defensively, and they don't turn the ball over on offense. And they got a good both run and pass game offensively. They're very well coached. A lot of experience, having made the run last year. So I would think they would be the favorite.
Would the sleeper be Charleston?
Yeah, I think they're legitimate. They haven't lost, and they've in their league taken on all comers and have won pretty easily. I don't know if they've had very many close games at all. They beat Cal in the opener. That was probably their closest game. Other than that, they've pretty much blown everybody else out in that conference. They score a lot of points.
Yeah,
they score a ton of points.
Hey, they have a heck of a running back.
Yeah, he's a really good running back that was supposedly in the portal and was going to go Division I, and then I guess he didn't go, and they kept him, and he's one of the best backs in the region for sure.
Yeah. How do you view now practice this week? You didn't have any practice today. How are you handling it?
We're practicing Wednesday and Thursday. It'll be mostly just, against each other, offense, defense. A lot of the guys that have played, we have probably about 7, 8 guys on both sides of the ball that have played almost every play because we've played in all close games. Other than a couple games, they've all been close games. So they won't get a ton of work, but a lot of the twos and the young guys will get a lot of work on Wednesday and Thursday. and then we'll give them the weekend, Friday and the weekend off, and we'll come back next Monday and start our preparation for Shippensburg, but it won't be a Monday practice. It'll be like a Tuesday practice, so we'll get an extra day like we did for Lock Haven after we played Ashland on a Thursday.
When you look back and you review your players and your roster, what player or players have played above of what you thought they might?
Well, I think Fazell has had a great year. You know, he's had a tremendous year. You know, the main guys on defense we've expected to play well, have played well. I think Fazell has probably made the most improvement. I think Goodwin, as a true freshman, has shown, you know, that he has what it takes. And then, you know, Johnston at safety is a good young player. He's only going to get better and better. And then, you know, the guy that played really good the other day was Barron at corner. They tried to run out and up on him like we did on their guy, and he was all over it and had a good pass breakup on it. He made some really good open field tackles, made a great tackle on the punt. You know, Marcus Day has really come on. Has done a really good job for us.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. You know, Koval was having a really good year till he got sick. Chance Battle's probably right there with Gerald as our two best offensive linemen. And, you know, Younger has been the glue. I mean, probably half the games we've played, he's been our only healthy running back.
Yeah.
And he's done a really good job in pass protection also. He's caught the ball out of the backfield. So he for a guy that was going to play defense, he's had a pretty good season for us.
Yeah. You know, looking toward next year with a game to go, hopefully ending up 7-3, priorities. Because you have, what, twice as many seniors as you did last year?
Yeah, we still got a big junior class. So we have 23 juniors. So, you know, we lose 3 offensive linemen that are going to graduate. Gerald's 4-year starter, Leighton a 2-year starter, Cotman a 2-year starter. So that'll be we'll have to fill spots there.
How about Indiana's Matthew Nelson?
Yeah, he has another year, but he's going to go to physical therapy school, I believe, or physician's assistant school, so he probably won't be back. He's played really good since Koval's been out. Gerald moved to tackle. Nelson's played guard, and he's played really good. So I'd say if I had to just off the top of my head say offensive line and defensive back, because we lose 2 senior DBs.
But they need some linebackers.
And but we got some young guys. Plus we got Santos, who would probably be playing a lot more if he hadn't been hurt early in the year. And he's got Ingram and Cox in front of him. We used him a little bit at defensive end. But he was an all-conference player at Notre Dame College. So, and we got a good young freshman that we're redshirting at that position. So we will have a bunch of defensive linemen back. The only D lineman we'll lose is Fazell. And we've got a guy we're redshirting. Well, we end up redshirting Wysocki, and we're going to redshirt Nikar Butler, that one DN from Coatesville, who we actually looked into maybe playing him as a pass rusher later in the year, and we just decided to stay with the red shirt. So he's a good young prospect. But like Mayo, Goodwin, they're young guys. They're young players.
The Smith boy, the lineman.
Yeah, he'll be back. He had his kneecap. He had an injury, so he'll be back this spring.
Yeah, I see him at practice.
So we'll get him back. So we'll need some O linemen and we'll need some DBs right off the from the start, and then we'll recruit high school kids like we normally do.
Well, you thought whenever we talked about it back when, that you thought that the players, the high school kids that you recruited, could fill in the blanks, and some of them have already.
Yeah, I mean,
Goodwin, a lot of experience.
Yeah, Goodwin definitely did. Green at linebacker, we probably could have played him. Butler at defensive end, we probably could have played him. We have a couple young wideouts that have gotten better and better that are going to be good prospects. Holmes and Gamigliano. They've done a great job down on the scout team, going against our defense. A couple good running backs that have done a good job, Majors and Marquez. It looked like we were actually going to play Majors early in the year with all the injuries at running back. So, we got a good young tight end in Gampy, who's a redshirt freshman. He'll get his shot, for playing time next year. So we've got 3 tight ends, but the only tight end we lose is Laney. We get the 2 wideouts back that were hurt, Boyd and Stewart, and then hopefully Keenan Brown when he gets he's already had surgery on his Achilles.
Do you stay in contact with him?
Yes, yeah, he's going to rehab and stay there all spring, and then hopefully if he's 100%, he'll be back in the fall.
And that wasn't Achilles, right?
Yeah, he tore his Achilles. Yep.
Yeah. We didn't even get a chance.
Well, he practiced 4 days. It was the 4th day of practice when he tore his Achilles.
How about Tamade Penn? What's his?
No, he's done because his knee never responded.
Never responded. Yeah, that's that's a shame because.
Yeah, he had surgery and he had it last October, and if it wasn't ready for this season, then he said that's it.
Yeah. Now you have had a handful of kickers, which is good for several years.
Right.
They're all coming back.
Yeah, the whole specialist crew will be back one more year. I mean, we take that for granted for 4 years now, 3 years, and it'll be 4 years next year. Both long snapper, short snapper, punter, and kicker have been pretty solid, for us. Andrassi kicking, Spittler punt. Spittler had another good day Saturday. He bombed the one punt, had a ton of hang time on it, and I think that's the play Barron made for a negative return. It was like a 48-yard net. He used the wind. There was a little bit of wind up there. But he actually had a pretty decent punt into the wind, too, where their guy struggled a little bit punting. He didn't punt the ball very well, and that's where Frazier had the 2 big run backs. I mean, there was no hang time. He was catching the ball on the run. There was a lot of cushion between their coverage team and him with the ball. And
they were almost line drive kicks.
Yeah, they were bad. They weren't. They were very returnable punts, and we blocked it well because, it's hard to run back as many punts as we did in that game. We made them punt 8 times in a row without getting a penalty. Like you watch an NFL game, and like every other punt return, there's a penalty, like holding or clipping or whatnot. The one that Frazier almost took the whole way, Chamonix was close to getting the last guy, and he just couldn't get to him, or Frazier would have been a touchdown, the one he took for 45 yards. Mm-hmm. So we had a good day in the kicking game, covered kicks well, kicked it well, punted it well. Return game's been good. We haven't had any, I hate to say this, knock on wood, any major, negative plays in the kicking game. We gave up a little bit of a punt return against Slippery Rock that led to a touchdown, but we haven't had any major negative plays on special teams.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get ready in 2 weeks for Shippensburg, and they're having a struggle.
Right.
So I'm not sure who they play this week.
They play Lockhaven this week.
Oh, well, that'll be an interesting matchup.
Right.
Because Lockhaven certainly is better, and it gives the guys a little time to rest.
Yeah.
Get ready for the last game, and go from there.
Yep.
Okay, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate it, Coach Tortorella. And they will be playing at home. Yep, we got a chance to have a home game on the 16th against Shippensburg. That'll be a 2 o'clock kickoff. So that's our football side of it. Again, congratulations, Coach Tort, on his 60th win as an IUP coach. And the only 2 guys ahead of him are Hall of Famers, Frank Signetti and George P. Miller.
My daughter always reminds me. She reminded me a couple weeks ago about coaching in over 400 games, so that makes me feel old. And then she said, congratulations on your 60th win, so that makes me feel old again. But, good players and good assistant coaches and good staff, you can win a lot of games. It goes under my name, but it's a lot more than just me, believe me.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be back. We're going to talk IUP basketball next up. Stay with us. Our special show coming up here, Hawk Talk from the Indiana Elks. And we're coming to you on U92.5 FM and also Renda Digital TV.
1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities. We give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Welcome back, everybody, and it's our special edition of Hawk Talk from the Indiana Elks Lodge. Jack Benedict here with Coach Craig Carey, the women's basketball coach. Joe Lombardi's in the house. He'll be coming up here next, so stay with us. You want to learn about IUP basketball because, lo and behold, the season begins this weekend, Coach. Wow.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it comes upon us. By the way, Coach is in his third year, 39-18 record, 21-8 last year. And what is happening that we see in the basketball world, there's a lot of turnover in the basketball world, and you have some of those. Tell us about your team and primarily with the new players, and, of course, you've got some solid veterans coming in.
Yeah, we returned 4 players from last year's team, 2 starters, and really 3 if you count Janera, who got some starting time. So, you know, in today's game, that's kind of hard to come by, returning starters and people who play. So, and we're you know, no different from my first year here. Just our style of play, I kind of felt like, you know, we kind of needed to get a different type of player in. So, you know, we worked really, really hard. We brought in a lot of players. My summer was not very fun, on a lot of Zoom calls, doing a lot of visits.
No vacation, huh?
No. And then when I took a little bit of time, I got a call and I had to come back. So, you know, but that's coaching for you. And, you know, if you kind of don't take enjoyment with the recruiting process and kind of building a team, then, you know, you can kind of settle in, you know, just the way I was brought into coaching and everything like that. You know, you're always looking to next year, you know, who are we on, what can we get, and then you're putting the pieces together as you can. And, you know, sometimes you luck into really good players, like last year with Romina, who's overseas in Ireland right now playing professionally.
She's playing?
Yeah, she's playing professionally in Ireland. And, you know, I feel like we kind of lucked into that one and done transfer again this year. So a lot of new faces. It will definitely be more of a people who know how to play. It definitely looks like a team that could play like that, so we're excited.
You have 4 seniors. Tell us about your veterans who are back.
Yeah, I mean, you return Grace, who started every game last year, who, you know, I think this is her 4th year starting in the conference. So someone who, you know, has been there, done that, knows different teams, different systems, can kind of adjust with everyone. She's kind of our steady hand this year, someone who can just be a constant for us. And she's super talented, as you saw last year. She can shoot, she can pass, she can score in the paint a little bit. So we've been trying to, you know, weave her in with everyone. Then you have Janera Scott again. We're trying to get her another year, but right now she is a senior. But she has really taken a step up from last year. She was more just a role player. In our scrimmage on Friday, she had 17 and like 5 assists, no turnovers. So she's kind of taking that next step in her game, which is we're really looking forward to. Shemaya Strayhorn, she's a one-and-done transfer this year from Wheeling. She was first-team All-Conference Mountain East last year, so she's kind of stepping in. I see her as like a Romina from last year. Really, really athletic, can guard, can get to the rim. Transition is she kind of lives in transition, so she's going to be a big part of our team. Who else are our seniors?
There you go. I'm trying to
I know, I'm losing track already.
Oh, well, you have listed, it's hard to tell sometimes.
And Kamaya is a junior college transfer too.
Because of COVID and everything that hit, you never know who's
right.
What class.
And like with Toot, some of these are tricky because they may have another year.
Yeah,
but we
that's
don't.
true.
Yeah, so we're kind of, but those are the seniors right now. And like you said, senior leadership with a team that has a lot of new players is really important because they got to build the culture. It only goes so far, me saying it and preaching it. Sometimes they need some other voices in the locker room, and that's where those veterans come in, where the Graces. Even though Shay's only a junior, Shay's been here, knows what we're looking for. So sometimes it takes the players to kind of police the locker room as well as myself.
Yeah, Shay Weaver had a tremendous year last year, one of the best rebounders I know I've seen at IUP in a lot of years. Tell us about your some of these new players that have come in and how you're going to incorporate them, because that's the bulk of your roster, really.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to in the recruiting process, and majority of these, I think all but 2 are transfers. So we're really portal heavy, we're real transfer heavy right now. But in that process, you got to recruit to you. You don't just recruit the best players you can get. We went and found players that fit the system, that want to play fast, that want to play together, share the ball, and that you got to take all that into account, because if you get kind of a player that's used to walking it up, running a set play, well, then they get to us and they can't play that fast. They can't play that free, and it may take a year to get them ready. Well, if they only got 1 year, then we just got to move on from that. But I feel like we did an intentional job of getting multiple position players to where, some games we may switch 1 through 4, we can do that. Some games we only switch 1 through 3. We're going to press a lot more this year. We're going to trap off ball screens more. So, as with our roster last year, we had some games we had 6 players on the roster.
I think you had 5 at Lockhaven.
Yeah.
I was ready.
No, I know. And then, I looked down the bench at Jesse and Courtney, and they're like, what do you want me to do? I don't like, so
yeah.
There was times where, I don't like going under screens. I want to keep the pressure on the ball handler as much as we can. And, in our first 2 scrimmages, we're just throwing them in and out. Marin transferred from Millersville mid-year last year.
Miller.
Marin Miller, yeah.
Marin Miller, yeah.
So she's another one, comes in, gives us a lot of energy, really quick, can shoot, can score on her own. But she's another one, put her in, you pick up the ball full court. I mean, the way I think of it is how many teams have multiple primary ball handlers? Like, not a lot. So let's put the ball in the non-ball handler's hand, and then let's trap them, and then let's fly around, make non-dribblers make decisions. So, we're going to run a lot of run and jump. We're going to, like I said, we're going to trap ball screens. Our offense is a lot different. We still run the high-low, but, with Lily at the 4, with Naomi, who's transferred from Delaware State, they have a lot of guard skills. So we'll go 4 out, 1 in, and it's a lot of kind of like an NBA pro-style action where it's a lot of handoffs, a lot of misdirections, things like that. So it's a fun style. I mean, our first 2 scrimmages, we've really worn the other team down because, as you know, our defense is so pressure.
Right.
Well, on offense, we're flying around on offense now too because I have the numbers to kind of get people in, get people out.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Lily Jordan, who is a freshman out of Morgantown, so you had a connection down there, that's for sure. And the other player who's the transfer from Delaware State is Naomi
Zulueta. Naomi's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're satisfied with the way they're progressing?
Yeah. Lily, it's funny. Really, the only way I could get on Lily is because when I was in high school, her high school coach was the assistant coach then, so I knew him really well. I played ball with her skills trainer, and my brother coaches her weight trainer's son. So, I had everyone calling her about us.
Boy, if you wouldn't have gotten her.
Oh, I know. Well, it was us and all D1s. She didn't really look at any other D2s, and just, kind of the opposite of the portal. She got tired of D1s kind of, come up for another visit because they're all prolonging high school kids now to see who they can get in the portal. Well, that kind of made her dad and her mad. So I said, I'll take you today. So they came up on a visit. A week later, it was over.
Now, she's listed, she's a legit 6 feet?
Yeah, and she's
so
built like a football player.
And Shay should give you some
muscle. And I think what sets Lily apart is, in our first scrimmage, she had 10, and she had 9 assists, no turnovers. So I put her at the 4 and the 3. I can slide her up and down, and then when we want to go small and trap everywhere, I put her at the 5, and we go like 6 foot, 5'10", 5'9", and then a quick guard, and then we're just flying around. Everyone can guard everyone. And another transfer, Ellie Wilkerson.
Yeah, okay.
She's another big, strong guard.
She's out of was Georgetown College.
Georgetown College, yeah, in Kentucky. She's originally from Indiana. I think that's kind of
state of Indiana.
Yeah, the state of Indiana. I think that's something else kind of unique about our roster is there's just kids from all over the place, and that's kind of the way like my background recruiting, being from Power 5. Like, I just have a lot of connections, so like I just go after them, their personality, their family. So I make a lot of connections all over the place, and getting these kids on campus, like they fall in love with the town, they fall in love with the school, the facilities are great. I take them down on Philly, and 9 out of 10 commit before they leave. So that's something special.
The one young lady from Tampa, Florida, Chimera, played at Portland State.
Portland State, yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at a lot of people from a lot of areas.
Delaware,
but that's
Baltimore.
the way it is now.
No, right. And with the portal, you can recruit like that. So we've been lucky enough to get some of them.
Yeah. Tell me about your you had 2 scrimmages against West Lib and Duquesne.
Duquesne.
How'd they go?
Really good. Really good. I don't know if they really want us releasing the scores or anything, but
no, that's fine. We don't need scores. Don't
for
count.
us, they went really good. I thought we did what we wanted to do, and that's kind of what in scrimmage. That's kind of what you were looking for, like because it's hard to scout a scrimmage. I don't know what they're going to run. This is a whole new team for the other team, so you just kind of this is what we're doing. Play our game. We'll adjust to them in game, and kind of we played Duquesne first, and they kind of came out and hit us in the mouth from the jump, and then after that, like first 7 minutes, we settled in and we were good, and we were kind of playing our game, playing at our tempo, and that's kind of what we want to do is speed everyone up to our speed, but we don't want to go over how we play because I think we can kind of play fast with the fast teams, but we're also organized, and then against the organized teams, we're going to speed them up to play fast. So we're kind of I want to try to get a little bit of the both worlds, so no matter who we play, we can settle into our style and kind of make them adjust
to
us.
both worlds.
Yeah.
Okay, you're playing this week. And your first 5 games are at home. You open up on Saturday with Salem at 2 o'clock. And then, of course, there's a game at noon with Bloomsburg and Virginia State, that is. And then you play Virginia State on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So is it too soon to start the season or not?
Well, ask me after the second game. But there'll be a really good game. Salem last year was a nail biter for us. They're one of those teams they're a little inverted. Their post-shoot jump shots, their guards post. So it's a weird look for a first game because you kind of got to adjust. You got to do some different things that you're not used to. And then Virginia State made it to their championship of their conference last year. I think they won. They were like 23-5 or something like that. So they returned everybody. So they're really good. So it's a good test early on. Yeah. As you know, in this conference, you play really good teams almost nightly. So we want to kind of set the tone early, kind of get them ready for conference play.
Yeah. Coach, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon. And the fans, and they're listening and watching. You got a lot of basketball to KCAC this weekend.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Great carry. All right, we're going to continue basketball talk. Joe Lombardi's on deck. He'll be coming in here in just a moment. And we'll return to Hawk Talk, our special edition, coming to you from the Elks Lodge on U92.5 FM and also on Renda Digital TV.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
We're back with you now in the final segment, and we're going to talk IUP men's basketball. Coach Joe Lombardi is with me right here, and we're glad to have him along. And he's got basketball coming this weekend, and so do we, and we'll talk about that. By the way, Coach Lombardi is starting his, doesn't look it, but his 19th year. He's won 417 games, which is the winningest coach in IUP history. And
Thank you.
top it off, he is second all-time for the PSAC. So those are some pretty good things to talk about. But we want to talk about the present. Welcome aboard, Coach. Good to have you here.
It's great to be here, Jack. I'm just glad listening to those commercials that there was no political tones in them, okay? So that makes me happy.
Isn't it nice to talk basketball?
Yeah, just have different topic. Appreciate the Elks doing this, okay? It's this is a wonderful place here and a lot of good patrons, so we're fortunate to be able to come in here and talk a little bit basketball.
All right, we talked with Coach Carey. We can do the same thing with you. You've got a lot of new players. We have a lot of homework, those of us behind the scene that have. Tell us about your team, and if you've learned who everybody is.
Yeah, that's a work in progress, Jack. I don't know where to start. Other than it's probably the most youngest, inexperienced team that we've ever had. And when I say that, I really like our team. But they have a lot of habits to pick up. It's Dallas is on the sideline. Dallas Diller, he's back. He's not practicing, competing yet. He's doing workouts on his own. He's not. Maybe in a couple weeks, 2 weeks, he'll be able to start going live against defense and stuff like that. But I look around and he's like the one guy that's been around. I'm used to having a lot of experienced guys. I've been blessed with that over years. I'm used to having 3, 4, 5-year guys that have been in the system that have habits. They can help coach the other guys. And with 2 new assistants, Dallas has become one of my top assistant coaches right now.
Well, he's your only senior, right?
Yeah, he's the only senior.
Yeah.
Demir's a redshirt. Demir's been there 4 years, but he's a redshirt junior.
Yeah. Talk about some of your first-year guys who you're incorporating and how they're coming along.
Okay. No specific order. Our point guard, Kamani Marrero, is from Toronto, on the diminutive side, I would say, but plays with a lot of confidence and he's adjusting well. We've had 3 scrimmages. We played Duville here. We played Niagara. And we really did very well against Duville and against Niagara. We played them kind of even up there. So that was a good sign. But then coming home, Division II team, Ohio Valley, they came in beforehand and they were taking photos of the arena, okay? When the other team takes photos of the arena, it reminds me of the days when we played the Dream Team. I was with Panama national team. We played the Dream Team. And when you ask a team for a photo before the game with them, it's usually not going to work out well. But this worked the other way, okay? They laid it on us. They beat us pretty good. And it was their Super Bowl. But it was a great example for our guys because we try to tell them, everybody that comes in there, whether it's the facility or the banners, it's their biggest game of the year for them. And it was for Lake Erie. And they came out hungry to do that. And our guys learned a lesson that they got to try to match their hunger every night.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, getting back to Kamani, and then another young man, it's a freshman, Ian Herring, played at Kiski Prep, 6'4", 6'5", just a tremendous talent and incredible upside. Has to learn how to compete, the IUP way. That's all. And he will. It's just about a matter of him developing the habits and living up to the expectations of how hard we go every possession. Most of these freshmen they played AAU, they play high school basketball, and they're more talented than the other guys around them, so they don't really have to go as hard. And the coaches, they recognize how talented they are, and they don't coach them hard a lot of times. And so they have to learn what it is to sprint back on every possession to do those things. And I think it's common for freshmen. Then we have somewhat of a local kid, Tyler Grove, whose dad is Ryan Grove, whose grandfather is Roy Grove, and they were staples in the community. And then his dad went on to be an assistant trainer with the Steelers, and then a head trainer with Miami Dolphins, and now he works up at Edinburgh in their sports medicine department. And Tyler just has a tremendous amount of ability. He used to come to camp, when he was 10, 11, 12 years old. And I told him, I said, one day, if you grow to be 6'6", you got a scholarship.
He's bigger than
well,
that.
He's 6'7", 6'8". So yeah, that was a little bit of a no-brainer. He has a real bright future ahead of him. Reminds me of a young Jacobo Diaz a little bit. Has a lot of skills and to go with his size. And then the last freshman that we have, is Batista Rodriguez. He's from Argentina, and 6'7", very skilled, very physical. Just at the end of practice here, we were throwing the ball, and he was just catching with one hand. So that means he's got big hands. When you can catch a basketball,
can he play wide end?
Yeah, and I was telling him you could be a wideout, hold the guy off, and make one-hand catches that you see in the NFL these days. But he's another one that brings a lot of toughness, and all these guys can play, and all these guys are going to play. So we've never had 4 freshmen play since maybe back in the day when Gerald Brooks was here, the first year we were here. I hate to compare it to that because that year we won 6 games. That didn't turn out too well. So I'm going to go on a limb and say we got more than 6 wins in us this year. I'm not going to say how many more.
You've won 33, and you also have a season where you won 6. So you're at both ends of the spectrum.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. I'm a good enough and a bad enough coach to go either way with it. Okay.
Hey, tell us about Christian Moore, the young man from Virginia Beach, from New Hampshire.
He's probably going to be the guy we lean on the most off the top there for scoring. I think he can score. He's an all-league type player for us. Good jump shooter, has good ball skills, can play the point or the off. He's more comfortable at the off guard, but he played point up in New Hampshire. Just a high-quality kid from Virginia Beach and the same area, Brandon Norfleet, so he knew the Norfleet family. And that he was a good pickup for us. And then we have another kid that transferred in, Luke Triggs from Mercyhurst. And Luke is a somewhat proven player. He's gotten stuff done against different people, 20 against Ghana last year, double figures in several other games, only playing half a game. So we think he can be a good – he's going to play the 5 for us. Him and Demir are going to split time at the 5, the center position. But he's skilled. He can shoot threes, too. Luke can. And then the last newcomer is going to be Alfonso Pickens. All right, he played at Gannon a couple years ago and then was at junior college. And, he may be out for the year, maybe not. He's waiting on an injury, a leg injury, that they'll reevaluate in a couple weeks, and he may have to go under the knife in that situation. But we'll see how that all works out. So those are the 7 brand new guys.
Now, Demir Brooks is still around, too. Demir, IUP fans are certainly familiar with Demir.
Yeah, they're familiar. A lot of them kept wanting to know why don't you play Demir more last year, okay?
Coach, why don't you play Demir more?
You know what? Why don't I play him more? Well, I always like to say, you know what? I have the first guess, and all the fans have the second guess, okay? They get the second guess, and but we're all guessing, Jack. Maybe it was a good thing I played him more. Maybe it was a good thing. Maybe it was good I didn't play him as much. But he's improved. I was ecstatic. To be honest with you, I for whatever reason, I didn't have big plans for him or expectations on him coming back. He's a wonderful young man, but I just didn't know, how much his commitment was there at times. But he really got focused this summer and really made some nice strides. So it's nice to see him develop and grow. This is his 4th year in the program, and I enjoyed Demir a lot. And it's good to see that he's made the improvement that we need to. He's a man when he goes up to rebound at times.
All right, you're going to play this weekend. We're going to be there at Charleston, West Virginia, with the crossover with the 2 conferences. You play Glenville State Friday at 5. You play Charleston Saturday at 2. It's going to be an interesting beginning because normally we see you at home, so you're going to be on the road for a couple of weeks to start the new season.
Yeah. We try to have a classic at home. We've had that over the years. I'm a little bit of a bad luck omen, I guess. 2 years ago, we had Alderson brought us in there in the scheduling classic, and their school shut down in June. We scrambled to find somebody, and then this past year we had Notre Dame College out of Ohio in, and their school shut down. So it's going to be hard scheduling people, especially if there's a threat of the school shutting down. So that was, and then Mercyhurst was going to be the other team, and then they went Division I, so we had to abandon our classic and go find somewhere to go. And with the least experienced team that I've had in a long time, and I really didn't. It wasn't a wish that we go play Charleston, who's probably your top 20 team to start the season, and then Glenville, who's always been good and made progress. So, but we'll play them out and we'll see what happens. And my whole thing is it's a process, and I just want to see these guys improve, be the most improved team from November to December, from December to January, and so on. In addition, you have a new assistant. Yeah. Tell us about Kevin. Kevin Shuley. He's was at Penn State Barron. He's a Pittsburgh area guy. He was at Drexel as a director of ops for a year, and then he's been in Penn State. He went to Penn State Barron, and he was back there for a number of years. And it's a hard job. We only have we were down to one paid assistant for years. We had 1.5, I'll say, and we had a lot of good quality assistants in that spot. Shamgod Wells. We had. Trayvon Woodall in a lot of places. So now, without that, a lot of burden falls on that one guy, and you got to do everything from nuts to bolts, especially as the head coach gets older and wants to do less. So it could be very challenging. And then, but we also we have another young man, Kevin Brandon Mahan, who's volunteering, but is very qualified. He was a full-time guy at NAIA school last year, and his head coach got let go, so he was out kind of there, still wanting to stay in the business. So we're blessed to have him, and so I like our staff. I think they're getting our guys better, which is really important, the development. And they have great attitudes, and they're terrific people. So I am blessed with them. Also, I have Nolan Burke, who played for us a couple years ago. He's back. He has one semester left as an undergrad and another semester left as a grad, so he's around practice helping. And then Armani Foster is he's working up in Meadville, but he can kind of get off his job he's an in-school disciplinarian. I'm not saying the right word there, but that's kind of his role up at Meadville Middle School. And so he comes down and helps us on the weekend, or he's going to. He's not cleared yet as a volunteer assistant, but he will be soon, and we're lucky to have him. And so I really have a really good staff, and I got kids that want to work, and so that, as a coach, that's where we're at, and that you look forward to practice every day. Are there any new rules that we need to know about? Nothing new they put in, did they? No more than 2 guys on the radio at any one time. Don't talk at the same time. Yeah, don't talk. Yeah, so that rules Doc. That rules you out from when him and Tony are there. You can't. You can put your 2 cents in, but it's going to have to be in the end zone. I don't know. I've heard it the other way, that we don't get to say much on post-game shows. I don't know. You don't get to say much. Jack, I heard. Looking forward to the season. I heard you get paid by the question. So Mark Burdick said, "Don't let him ask one question and then talk the rest of the time." Is that what he? Okay. Yeah. Coach, thanks very much. Appreciate it. I'm glad to have you. Yeah, and thanks for having me. Thank you to the Elks and everyone here. We're looking forward to a new season, believe me. Have a great week. Okay, I'll see you. God bless. Coach Joe Lombardi, you bet. And we'll have those games for you from Charleston, West Virginia this weekend. So join us. We'll tell you all about it. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with Hawk Talk. Hope you enjoyed it today. The football/basketball special that we have for you. It's always a great time. And we have the overlapping of seasons, and I think we're all ready for that. I want to thank Danielle Pisarcik, who back at the studio at Renda Broadcasting takes care of us as our producer. Thanks to John Smathers, too. All right, that's it. And we bid you 2 weeks. We'll see you with Hawk Talk on Renda Digital TV and U92.5 FM. Have a nice night.
The following has been a special sports presentation of Renda Media. You've been listening to another edition of Hawk Talk on the